friends, and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. So it's Friday. I just finished up work. It's about 6 and this weekend I always laugh when I have to talk about weekend plans because it's always the same. This weekend Clay and I are hanging mostly around home. I'm gonna try to do a lot of reading. I'm really excited about my weekend TBR, mostly because I'm picking up a book I have been putting off for so long that I know a lot of you guys have been wanting me to read. That being said, before I jump into the books, overall plans for the weekend, Clay does have to work a little bit later tonight, probably till about 8 or 9, so I'm going to be doing reading in the meantime, doing some picking up and things. And then tomorrow we have a very grand expedition. We're gonna go to Central Park. So we've decided to socially distance our way up to the park, which we're actually really excited about. Central Park is huge, obviously very easy to, you know, maintain distance from other people, but also it's just like the closest thing to the great outdoors that you can have without driving somewhere, at least for us. So paths and trees and water and just, you know, fresh air in the middle of New York City. So we're gonna go up there and walk around. I'm really excited because I have not been to Central Park in so long, and it's probably top 3 favorite places in the city. It's just so magical, and there's always like new things you stumble upon because it's so large. And we're gonna check out kind of the northern section, which we haven't really been to at all, so we're just going on a bit of an adventure tomorrow essentially. But my reading plans for the weekend are exciting, so I'm going to chat through the books now. Here are the 2 books. The first one is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. You'll guys know I read this in my last reading vlog. I'm actually almost done. I have less than 100 pages left, and I'm gonna focus on finishing this and wrapping this up, and then I'm gonna start The Burning White by Brent Weeks, which is the final volume in the Lightbringer series. I've been wanting to read this and also been terrified of reading this book for many months, almost an entire year, but I feel like I'm finally gonna pick it up. I don't want to have this sitting on my shelf any longer, and I'm really excited to have it. I have the ebook all loaded up and ready to go, checked out from my library because this is heavy. But yeah, so this is what I hope to read. In fact, I've actually been doing a bit of reading. Clay was on a call, so I waited to start my vlog, but I've actually read 70 pages of The Rage of Dragons so far today. And I have to say, I'm really liking this book. I want to give kind of a comprehensive view of the overall story, I guess, while I have you here. Because obviously I talked about it in my last vlog, but really from an introductory perspective. So this is a very war-centered, training, combat-centered fantasy story. And we follow our main character, Tao, and he is part of a world, or rather he is part of a group of people called the Chosen. The Chosen are a group of colonizers essentially. 183 years ago, they essentially fled their homeland, traveled by boat to a new land to kind of stake out, survive, and continue living in their existence. But obviously when they arrived, there were native individuals that lived on that land before them. And because they viewed themselves as chosen, they, you know, immediately waged war against these individuals, and this war has been waged ever since. Both sides fighting to have control over the territory in which they now both reside. In this world, the structure of the society and the magic are very military focused. In fact, being a part or involved in the military pretty much in any capacity is expected. There's also a caste system structured on blood. So while everyone's involved in the military, there's still true groups that people fall into depending on who you're related to. There are the lessers and there are the people of royal noble blood. It is very much viewed that if you are noble, you are better than the lessers, given the name. You're stronger, you're faster, you're better suited for ruling. All of those things are perpetuated in this world, and even if you're incredibly talented as a lesser and are great in a military perspective, there's only so high you can go. You definitely hit a ceiling, and you can't really propel yourself any further. The beginning of this book, our main character Tao essentially is planning to be involved in the military like anyone else, but really doesn't really care too much. He really just wants to get married, have some kids, you know, stay in his home village and just live his life. But unfortunately an event occurs where his life path alters, and now he seeks for revenge. This book is very focused on Tao getting involved in the military, training, scrimmages, training as he works to get himself stronger to essentially kill the people that were involved in the deed at the beginning of this book. I would say this can slightly impact the pacing. I found the beginning of this book to be really fascinating because you got such a deep dive introduction of the world, the magic, the political structure. And by the way, there is magic in this and also military focused, in that essentially there are individuals called the gifted. They're always female, and they can essentially enrage and essentially make men warriors really, really strong and powerful. And they can also like send out waves of energy to incapacitate their enemies. So people who are gifted, that's like the only way you can move from being a lesser to noble blood, because gifted are so limited in number. So it's really the only opportunity to jump from one caste to another. But again, back to the pacing, because this is so military and training focused, and Tao is essentially using and essentially trying to train to get stronger to be able to kill his enemies, there's a lot of training. And I honestly enjoy that, but I do think it kind of, for me, in the middle of the book, got a little slow, because it was kind of the same. We just saw Tao train, do a skirmish, train. But then I would say Evan Winter really picked it back up again near the tail end of this book in terms of providing really interesting stakes, a really fascinating kind of escalation of the political world, and also giving us a reader more purview into different political inputs that are kind of impacting the larger view of this world. With that being said, I would say one of my favorite elements of this story, outside of the writing style, which I find super engaging, and while I did find sometimes the training to be a little prolonged, Evan Winter's ability to write combat I think is really commendable. But I would say my favorite part of this world is this political structure and narrative that's going on. There's this sort of undercurrent, obviously, of lessers being unsatisfied with literally being told that they are worse than another group of people because of their blood. And there's definitely some political unrest, especially as the book progresses, beginning to show, which I think is really interesting and I hope is further explored. There's also an element of the native individuals who lived on this land. I want that to be much more in the forefront. It has been hinted at, but so far there hasn't been a lot of dialogue about the fact that we are really in the perspective and only have POVs of individuals from this chosen group who have colonized and murdered a bunch of people on this land. And I feel like there's a lot more nuance that could be explored and discussed in that aspect of the conflict that we haven't really gotten yet, but I have hope that it will be either at the end of this book and through the next book. So that's kind of like a hope for the future, because I definitely feel like it has to be addressed, otherwise it'll be very odd. But so far, this book is really engaging. This is a very long clip, so obviously I had a lot to say, but it's kind of complicated, so I wanted to make sure I was, you know, describing the full picture. I have less than 100 pages left, and I'm flying through it. It's good. I would definitely recommend it, but I just would want to say it's very war-centric, very violent. Understand going in, there's going to be a lot of training sequences, so if that's not your thing, Tao is a main character I enjoy very much. I find him to be very compelling. He's flawed, so I would say know that going in too. He is a very focused point of view, which sometimes to the detriment can put people around him that he cares about kind of in a bad spot. So for me, I don't mind flawed characters. I love the Poppy War and stories like that. And Tao kind of falls into that category, not so much the Poppy War. He's still very much a hero. He's just a bit of, he's just human, you know? He's gonna make mistakes and he's gonna be hyper-focused as he's kind of progressing through the story. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm gonna get back to reading. This was so long. Welcome to the vlog. I'm gonna try to finish this book tonight and then start The Burning Right for the rest of the weekend. So that's the plan. Hopefully that overview made sense. I'm gonna get back to reading now. Goodbye. Fresh cup of Joe. Friday night coffee, hanging with Millie. Oh, I want to show you guys my new shelfie shelf. So we decided to make this space a little more functional. We bought another shelf. I mean, this is definitely not ideal, but this is so much more practical for us. One, I know you're not supposed to stack records on top of each other. I did do a lot of reading and a lot of people said small stacks like this are fine as long as the weight is evenly distributed. It won't warp or put too much pressure on anything, so we should be good. It's also temporary. This is not gonna be forever like this. Obviously, when we have more space one day, we can kind of have a more suitable home for these, but for now, our little baby stacks and making sure everything is even and level, we should be good. But we've had this for like a couple days and we've already used our record player so much more. We actually can see all of our records, go through them. This is just so much more practical for us, just more storage. It has been truly a lifesaver. This is from Target and worth every penny. So I'll have it linked down below if you guys are curious, but it's cute. It's like light wood and then like rattan. But yeah, it's been very, very handy. And we've just been listening to our records. I've also totally started decorating for fall. And look, I have little lights, which I'm a big fan. More of my fall decor is coming, but for now I just have this wreath. Hi friends. You're about to hear a bit of a record skip when it comes to the Rage of Dragons. I feel like I just had a really long clip talking about the book. And a lot of what I said still stands, especially at the time where I was in the book. But a lot of what I was saying was also kind of conditional on some certain aspects. I stand by everything I said, sorry, I'm out of focus, about the writing style. I actually like Tao's main character. He can be a little hyper-focused, and this book definitely had some pacing issues in the middle, which I already spoke about, and can be a little like dude bro. I was talking to Starla, she's like, Tao reminds me of Sasuke, and all the dude bro fighting was a little much for me, and I definitely felt that in the middle too, but then I kind of, it picked up for me with this particular competition, which I did find pretty engaging. Part of what I was saying in the last clip is that I think the world and the politics are really fascinating, and particularly there has been throughout this novel kind of this conversation of like lessers aren't really lessers, like what is blood really, like we should be like refocusing, you know, how we're defining our places in society. Like that's what Tao is constantly thinking about, like I'm not less than you, I work really hard, blah blah blah. And I thought that would naturally progress the whole time into an obvious dialogue of the fact that, and having kind of an inward reflection of the fact that the Chosen, the group of people that he is lesser of but still involved with, are not really the hero of the story but kind of the villain, because they're the colonizers all along. They have been fighting this endless war, lived on this land way before them, and I was just like waiting the whole time for that sort of to be acknowledged and like part of the story, and this sort of like refocusing on the whole structure, the whole world, or everyone's place in it. And that didn't really happen, and like it might happen in the second book, but like I really like a lot of the story was like kind of hinging on that fact for me. And this is where I say I feel like this book might have benefited from being multi-perspective, because obviously Tao doesn't know what he doesn't know, but as a reader we're obviously have a purview and we're trying to understand this like larger political sphere. Having perspectives in different places in both the Chosen society but also on the other side, I think would have created possibly a more whole narrative that kind of wouldn't had missed those blind spots, if you know what I mean, because Tao's flawed. And also his view and like what he's fighting for is super flawed, but there's not like a full recognition of that, which is a little frustrating because I was kind of expecting it. I was like expecting this record skip where everyone's like, wait, we're the bad guys, which, you know, they kind of are. Anyway, I just feel like there could have been a more nuanced approach, which I liked the book. But I'm just trying to be like transparent on all my thoughts. I think, by the way, I finished it. I think right now I'm sitting at like a 3.5, 3.75. I feel like I'm gonna check out the second book because I feel like there's opportunity that could be expanded on, but I definitely wanted to note all of those things, and I would say like those are my main criticisms of it. But overall, like I think Evan Winter's writing is great, and I'll probably definitely check out more books by him. And I would recommend this book, especially if you love training montages. Oh my god, I cannot emphasize that enough. But I definitely just wish there was just like a more acknowledgement of things being multi-sided, or even like the character acknowledging that they are not seeing the full picture, if you know what I mean. Like there just wasn't enough acknowledgement. You feel me? Anyway, I'm really rambling now. I'm gonna watch Inuyasha. Just thought I'd give you a heads up. I finished this book. Hey! I'm honestly so sad about The Rage of Dragons because I wanted to love that book so much, and I feel like it just gave me a bit of whiplash, so I'm gonna sit on it a bit. I would still definitely rec it, especially if you love military and training, especially if you like training in books, because that definitely has a lot of it. I think I'm still gonna check out book 2 because I feel like there's an opportunity for my issues to be resolved in the next installment, though I wish it would have been at least addressed a little bit in book 1. Like even a one-liner could have resolved all my issues, and that's honestly what I was banking on. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm gonna have a glass of wine, order some pizza, watch some Inuyasha, and relax. I have read, goodness, like 160 pages. If anything, the book is so fast-paced. Like I read the last 160 pages so fast. Anyway, I'm still rambling, very fresh. I've been chatting with Starla about this book for the past like hour. That's a wrap. The pizza has arrived. What are you doing to it, Clay? Anyway, we got two, don't ask, but it's gonna be great. So time to chow down. Matilda's being drama, being taken out to the bathroom. And Clay and I have just been watching a new show, which we started this past week, Succession on HBO. Oh my goodness, talk about a show full of really bad people. But so far it's really, really interesting and rather scandalous, so. 4 episodes in. Matilda and I retreated into the bedroom. Ignore that stacked suitcase. I'm gonna watch an episode of Inuyasha. Clay's playing some Call of Duty, and I am going to go to sleep in preparation for our big day tomorrow, going to Central Park. Clay lovingly watering his plant. He's very obsessed with his plant and his watering can. Meanwhile, I'm watering myself with some morning coffee. Ha 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 ha. I'm so funny. I'm sure you've also heard in the background watching some Inuyasha. I also have the, oh, this book is so heavy. The Burning White loaded up on my e-reader, so I'm going to start this today. Obviously, I was able to read a good chunk of this book. I finished it. I think it was like 160 pages, so I'm actually really pleased with how much I've able to read. But this morning, I'm actually going to be doing some filming. I want to film a video, and then we're heading out to go to the park. I might bring you guys along and do like one little park clip so you can see. I'm just so excited about it. Then obviously we're gonna come back. I'll do some more reading. I don't think I'm gonna actually get any reading in this morning by the time I film and things, but I plan to start The Burning White today, and then because I get my filming done today, I can read a bunch tomorrow. But yeah, good morning. Hi friends, we are off. I'm absolutely slathered head to toe in sunscreen. Wear your SPF, people. Got my Books hat on, and we're headed to the park. What a big day. We're very excited. Anyway though, we are gonna head out. We made it to the park. It's a beautiful day. This will probably be all I film. But we're enjoying the scenery. It's nature. Closest thing you can really get to it anyway, in New York City. It's the bomb. And just like that, we're home. It was such a nice day. I'm so sweaty and gross. I'm about to take a shower. I just gotta put a hair mask in first. But it was so nice to walk around. We walked so much outside, all the fresh air you could have. But yeah, it was actually super easy to like maintain all the social distancing and stuff. Public transit is like pretty empty right now, and then obviously the park, a bunch of fresh air, and it's huge. So it was just really nice to get out and about, a little bit of a change of scenery, see the world, see the squirrels, see the trees. It was really nice. But now we're back, and we're gonna lay low this evening. I think we're gonna watch Kiki's Delivery Service. And just hang out, probably watch some more Succession, which is, I don't know if we mentioned, but we started a new show now that we finished The Americans, and it's Succession, which is really good. Definitely full of pretty bad people, so I feel like we need a little bit of a palate cleanser with Kiki's Delivery Service. But right now I'm gonna put a hair mask in, shower, maybe do a bit of reading, but definitely a well-earned relaxation is coming tonight. We walked like over 6 miles, but it was great. It was really, really nice. Definitely you know, can't wait to get back up there, especially in like the fall. The trees, I cannot wait. But anyway, we're home now. Let's take a shower. I think we've decided on getting Szechuan food for dinner, which is so good. So some spicy food, and then we're gonna watch Kiki's Delivery Service. I'm watching some Inuyasha right now. It's a great Saturday night, everyone. Hi friends, I feel amazing post that shower, and I made myself a latte, and I'm gonna sit on the couch because I ran out for a quick errand just to go pick up some things. Then we're gonna order takeout and watch a movie. Nothing is more satisfying than like having like a really fun adventure day. It's hot, whatever, you have a nice time, you walk a million steps, you come home, and then you just relax for the evening. Oh, my washer's done. And showering and ordering takeout. It's literally like my version of heaven, you know? I like, you know, it's just how it is. Anyway, I'm gonna sit down, watch some Inuyasha, wait for Clay to get home, enjoy my coffee. Actually, I might actually start the last book, The Burning White. I'm also really thrilled because The Burning White has, in the beginning of the book, he literally gives you like reminders of everything that happened, which I definitely need because I have forgotten everything. So I'm now gonna try to locate my e-reader, and I think I'm actually going to read a bit while I wait for Clay to get back, settled, and all of that shenanigans. So yeah. Our food has arrived and it looks so good. I got twice cooked beef, and then this is a tofu dish that's really good. But anyway, we're gonna eat this and then finish our episode of Samurai Champloo and then start Kiki's delivery service. And we are moving on to Kiki's delivery service. Very exciting. I haven't seen this movie since I was a wee child, and Clay has never seen this one, so I'm looking forward to a heartwarming good time. At least I hope. I don't think this one is sad, so I'm looking forward to it. Hi friends, I have retreated into the bedroom because I'm honestly so tired and I'm probably gonna be going to bed soon. Being out in the sun and walking all those steps today, I feel a bit like a toddler, but I'm knackered. Is that a word that you can use for that? But yeah, I'm just sleepy. That being said, we did just finish watching Kiki's Delivery Service and I loved it. It was so charming. The colors were beautiful. All the Studio Ghibli films are just so vibrant and beautiful, and their ability to, like, I don't know, capture this feeling of nostalgia and a little bit of futurism, but also like a bit of the past, coupling that with beautiful landscapes and just touches of magic and just charming characters and stories and everything. I also love this one particularly, which just in general really lighthearted. Just, I personally was looking to watch something that was just like fun and easy, and Kiki's Delivery Service definitely delivered that, plus an adorable cat. But now I'm gonna read. I'm going to read some of The Burning White. I think I already mentioned that I'm so grateful because Brent Weeks included a summary of all of the other books before this final installment, which seriously could not need that more. It's been so long. Obviously since I've last read these books, I read them all in college, I want to say, if not like when I still lived in Chicago. It's just been a while. That being said though, I'm still very excited. I have it all loaded up. It's opening right now. We're gonna read it. That's a map. But anyway, I will check in and give you guys my thoughts as I kind of move along, and I'll also give you a general series overview tomorrow. But right now I'm just gonna focus on reading before I inevitably fall asleep, which is incoming. Guys, I'm so torn. I'm reading this very in-depth summary. He has summaries for each of the past books, and I remember the characters' names for the most part, but this isn't even sparking a memory. Like, I'm really sitting here a little torn. Like, maybe I should reread this series. I was trying to avoid that, given that it's 5 books, and there's a lot of fantasy series I want to read, and I'm a little frustrated with myself that I've forgotten so much, but I've forgotten a lot. And I remember like some of these things, but I just reread like a really big reveal in book 1 because it's in the summary, and I literally gasped because I forgot all about it, which it's a pretty big plot point. I was like, oh, no way. And in that moment I realized maybe I should reread it. And at the end of the day, it's like, that's fine, right? Right? And I'm like, dumb, if I'm like, and the thing is now I'm waffling, because if I decide to reread it, I don't want to read the summaries because I've clearly forgotten so much, and the reveals and the plot and everything, like I should just encounter it. But I've really forgotten. I'm like trying to even think like where we're at in the story going into book 5, and I have no idea. I think I just need to reread the series. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm such a disappointment. I was like, I'm finally reading this book, and then I read 2 pages and I'm like, JK, I need to read 4 other books before I can read this. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. But I feel like it's the right move. And then I can read it throughout the rest of this year, and I'll have like a much clearer POV on it, I think. I just don't remember anything except like the magic, which is great. But anyway, I'm gonna figure out how to acquire the first one, which, you know, isn't hard. I'm just gonna try to see if I can rent it from the library. And yeah, I'll start that, and then we'll talk more about this tomorrow. I'm so mad at my brain. There's just too many books in there. It's billowing along like tumbleweeds, apparently. But anyway, the decision's made. I'm just gonna reread it. I did it with Mistborn last year, and it was so much fun, and it was so worth it because I had forgotten so much with that too. And spoiler alert, I think I'm gonna reread The Way of Kings next month. So there's a lot of stuff to keep track of in fantasy, and I don't know, I like rereading stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Goodbye. Good morning and happy Sunday from Matilda and I. I am just sitting here editing my video, which I'm posting today. It is a vlog. Then I will give you guys a reading update for how much I was able to read last night, and overall just do a bit of a page count of where I'm at overall. Hi friends, so I am exporting my video right now and I wanted to quickly pop in. Oh, hi Matilda. I wanted to quickly pop in and chat about last night, my reading. Those are the words I'm trying to say. Matilda is just sitting, so she's joining the scene. But as we know, I kind of had a breakdown last night when I realized that I have really forgotten everything from the Lightbringer series besides like the really large pieces, and even that is a little blurry. I remember me loving it, I remember the magic system, and I remember generally the characters, but again, when I was reading the plot summary, I was like getting surprised by everything. Like I had never, it didn't even like ring a bell when I read it. I was like, oh my God, that's wild. So given this, and honestly, I shouldn't be too surprised. I haven't read The Black Prism in like 5 years or something like that. And you know, I just have to be realistic with myself. So I think I'm gonna reread it. And honestly, I think I'm pretty excited about that. So obviously I got the ebook of The Black Prism last night. I was able to read 30 pages before I fell asleep. But honestly, the first 30 pages of this book really hooked me. The writing style really captured me right away. It's a multi-perspective story and the chapters are actually pretty short, which I love, and I love that through the different perspectives we're jumping around. It's also a lot more playful than I remember. So again, I've only read 30 pages, but essentially the Lightbringer series is set in a world where the magic system is based on the spectrum of light. Essentially, magic wielders in this world could basically harness colors of the spectrum, and each color has like a different manifestation of use case. And the most powerful individual in this world is called the Prism, and he can use all the colors. In this story, we follow multiple perspectives. I've only encountered 2. One of them so far is the Prism, so the most powerful magic individual in this world, and the other is Kip, who is his son born out of wedlock, let's say. And in the beginning of the book, he finds out about his son's existence, and I'm pretty sure he's about to be, well, I know, he's about to be swept away to the capital, Chromia, to be trained and to be tested to see if he has the ability to use the light magic. The thing about the world in itself is that magic wielding has a huge trade-off, and that is your life. The more magic you use, the quicker you die, and in fact you can die simply by using magic. So obviously like wars and conflict are really complicated because you could survive the war and still die tragically if you overuse your magic. And I think this book has recently come off of, maybe like not so recently, but there was a war kind of recently, the last Great Prism War, and I'm pretty sure that has aspects within this story, as well as in this book, one of the outer territories is kind of revolting from the central power of the Prism, which I think is going to kind of expand into some like larger political consequences. I know that there are more perspectives in this story. So far though, I really like Kip. I don't remember liking Kip like this right off the bat, and I think it's maybe because I'm older. Kip is a young kid, he's like 15, and he's like, has a lot of, and he's like awkward in that 15-year-old kind of way. He has a lot of self-deprecating humor. He's definitely way too hard on himself. He comes from a troubled home, and I don't know, like I think I'm gonna be really excited to watch Kip come into his own power and like his own self-esteem. Like I'm rooting for him. Like he's a very rootable young man. But anyway, liking this book a lot so far. I've read 30 pages. I'm gonna definitely try to read a chunk of this today. It's hilarious that I'm rereading this series, in that this was not part of the larger plan for this year. Some long books to add to the overall TBR, but hey, I'm excited. These books are great, and so far, I'm really into it. I feel like the writing style has seamlessly pulled me into the story. So I'm gonna do a bit more reading while my video is exporting, but I just wanted to give you an update. Matilda is being so cute. She's just laying on my leg. Anywho, it's Sunday. I love Sundays. Bye. Laundry is drying, coffee is brewing, and I am going to put some Folklore by Taylor Swift on and read. Books hat. Packages I need to take to the recycling room. But mostly reading, listening to Folklore. Hey friends, I was just doing some online book shopping, not sponsored, but I thought I would just share what I was shopping for. Basically Lumicrate, which is an online bookish subscription service. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. They also come out with like limited edition books. And they're releasing 2 limited edition books for Spinning Silver and Uprooted, which are some of my favorite books of all time, and the UK covers are beautiful. So they're repackaging them, making them extra pretty, and also having them signed. You can basically pre-order them now and they ship in October. I just wanted to let you guys know because I always get a lot of questions about my UK editions. Again, not sponsored, but I'm going to quickly show them off. So here they are. They're beautiful. I'll have a link down below if you guys are at all interested. Just wanted to give them a quick shout because, I mean, this is a necessary thing for me, and I figured other people would want to also be informed. So I've just been sitting here reading. Well, I've been reading my ebook, but I'm holding up the paperback for the sake of this clip. But I'm flying through this book. I've already passed 100 page mark. The chapters are really short and the pacing is amazing. I also think jumping through the multiple different perspectives really helps everything. Overall, I mean, outside of the magic, the political system's fascinating. The Prism is kind of this sort of religious figure, has a lot of power, but not really a lot of power. And then there's another political counterpart called the White, which is kind of a ceremonial figurehead, but she truly has sort of the political power, and all of that. The other thing I wanted to comment on is that it's really interesting to give this book a reread with some of the context I have. Just because like I'm noticing things that are kind of dropped within the story, and the context for later on in the story is fascinating, and I think really adding like a really interesting layer to this reread overall. And something else too, like I really love Kip, which I think I already talked about, but even reading like the other characters, I think given that they're like in their 30s a bit, I think the first time I read it, I really kind of viewed them as cut and dry heroes, but I think now, while they're really interesting, kind of part of this larger political game, I see them much more as like human and flawed. Like, I don't know, Gavin the Prism is super powerful and really cool and flashy, but he's definitely like not perfect. So yeah, I think having elements of sort of this dramatic irony, I don't know if that's the correct word here, just like knowing how things play out, like you can see it written in the book if you know what to look for, but obviously you wouldn't unless you knew. I'm trying to be very cryptic here, but it's very fascinating. And I think adding a definite layer to this reread where I'm liking it a lot more, and I'm like reading into things in kind of a different way, which is increasing my overall enjoyment to the story. And I also just think like provides like reread value. Like this book series has great reread value because when you know certain context, when you reread it, it's so cool to kind of like pick everything apart as you go along. And it's been a lot of fun. Anyway, so yeah, I've read 100 pages. This book is so well paced so far, flying through it. I also think just in general, this is a great book to read in the adult fantasy space. If you haven't read a lot of adult fantasy, I just think like how it's written, it's very engaging. It's not super complicated. The magic is really cool and they explain it well. And yeah, you get a lot of context for the world through the different perspectives, which I think helps a lot too. But anywho, I'm gonna do more reading now. I just wanted to check in and let you know I've read over 100 pages. Woo! Picked up some tacos for lunch. Al pastor and steak and guac. Oh my gosh. All right, lunch is consumed. We watched some TV and then I filmed a reels really quick, which if you didn't know, I've been making like little book recommendation videos for my Instagram. So check them out if you want to see them. I think they've been so much fun. But anyway, I also got a cup of coffee, but I'm gonna get back to reading now. So far for the weekend, I believe I have read about 300 pages or just under. So I'm gonna just keep trucking along, reading as much as I can of the Black Prism, which honestly, like as I have already mentioned, really drew me in immediately. I do feel like Brent Weeks creates really fast-paced story right off the bat, because it basically opens on a village getting destroyed, and that's Kip's village, and he's just trying to like survive the whole thing, which obviously creates a lot of suspense right off the bat. But it's also just really fascinating to get reintroduced to the world. The magic is just so cool. So in terms of leveraging the different light, like what that translates to is there's like a physical manifestation of that, which I'm not fully remembering the full intricacies, but from what I've read so far, like it can physically manifest itself in like a physical way. So you can build bridges, you can build walls, and use it depending on the color you use. There's like different pluses and minuses to the whole thing. I think like yellow is the strongest, but like one might be more malleable, the other might be more waterproof, stuff like that. So it's just really fascinating. And then obviously there's different ways that you fight with each color as well, like from a war setting, but there's like infrastructural elements and then obviously military elements. So anywho, I'm gonna get back to reading. I'm really liking this book. I already knew I would. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars when I first read it like 6 years ago. I'm curious if that rating will hold, but so far it's so great. But anyway, gonna drink my coffee, try not to fall asleep, read. Quick reading update. I've passed the 200-page mark of this book. I feel like I'm reading this book so quickly, which makes sense because I loved it the first time around, but I just feel like the pacing of this book is amazing. The chapters are really short and they shift from perspectives pretty masterfully. I also think the world is introduced in such a cool way. I'll be honest, I've forgotten pretty much everything, so this feels like a lot of like reading it for the first time, but how Brett Weeks kind of introduces the magic and the politics I think is really well done, because we mostly do it through Kip, who, you know, wouldn't really know the complexities of the political system of the Chromia. So we kind of learned through him. I also really like Kip. I know I've said this a lot of times, but the first time I read it, I think I found him kind of annoying. It was really big Gavin fangirl and Karis fangirl, and while I like Gavin and Karis, I really like, I'm rooting for Kip. I don't know, he's just like, I just like, he really speaks to me, and I know time passes throughout these books, so I know we watch Kip get older. He's 15 in the first one, so I know I'm just excited to see him, hopefully gain more confidence. Generally speaking, the politics in this book are fast, and like I know more things will be coming later, and I'm just like excited to encounter them and more characters. I'm also excited to watch Kip go to the Chromia and start being trained in his drafting skills, his use of light, and I don't know, it's just like really well written and paced, and it's so engaging, and you so quickly get involved in the story. And again, I've already read 200 pages. Like, I can't put this book down. Like, I read a chapter and I immediately want to read the next chapter. It's so good, and I'm so glad it's holding up. I mean, I knew it would. Like, I loved them. I remember loving them, but even still, it's a great time. But now, let me flip you around. It's bath time. Millie's like, you called? Yes, Millie. It's bath time. And you're going to the vet later. Nothing's wrong, she just needs a vaccine. So we're doing a little walk and drop off. That's right, we wait outside and then they bring you inside. And they're gonna clip your nails, Millie, which you literally beat us up when we try to do it at home, so. Anyway. Ignorance is bliss, right, Millie? A wild pup post-shower. She's like, feed me as a reward for being marginally good in the bathtub. Hi friends, so Clay just left to take Millie to the vet. Again, she's fine, she's just getting a vaccine that she's due for. I stayed back because I'm gonna actually start dinner, and I think I'm gonna make this. I have some meal kits this week, and this is what we're making. It's like a home-style chicken and biscuit pot pie. Yum. It's been so long since I've had a pot pie. It makes me think of my mom. So yeah, I'm gonna put Inuyasha on. I'm gonna start cooking this. Put it together. It looks really good and really easy, which are two of my favorite things. I'm also thinking I'm gonna get an apron. I've stained so many of my favorite lounge sweatshirts because I'm a messy cook. And I think I'm gonna invest in an apron. So let me know if you have any favorite places to buy an apron, because I'm in the market for one. Step one is the trio. Just lots of chopping. Chopping celery always makes me think of the holidays. Anyone else? This makes me think of stuffing. Well, maybe not the carrots, but this makes me think of stuffing. Step one, cook the chicken bits. Step two, saute the vegetables and prep the thyme and garlic. Cooking up the gravy portion, just waiting for this to get nice and thick. I'll add the chicken in, dump it in here, and top with some biscuits. Yummy. And now it goes into the oven for like 15 minutes. It's topped with biscuits, if you're wondering. Looks so good. And dinner is ready. It looks very good. It's very hot, so I'm gonna let it cool down a bit and then scoop it up and watch more Succession with Clay, and then I'm gonna get also back to reading. It's always so fun to pick up, like, I don't want to call it an old favorite, but it's just a book series I have loved for so long, but haven't revisited the first book in so long. But it's really nice to feel completely engaged in the world and the characters of the story immediately. Like, my gut was right. Like, I don't think my rating is gonna change. If it does, it'll change so minimally. We'll see when we get to the end, but it's kind of a relief, if anything. Also, Matilda's back. If you're wondering if she's moping, she's not. She actually loves to go to the vet because they bribe her with a bunch of treats. She's such a drama queen getting her nails clipped, so they just have to ply her with all the treats that they can find, and she just loves it, honestly. And now she's pooped from all the exertion. But yeah, we're about to watch Succession. Clay's just sending an email. So we have been watching Succession, which is just a wild time. But I'm now retreating to the bedroom to do some reading. As I said, I've read just about 200 pages. I'm gonna try to read 100 more pages, but I think I've already said this. I'm just so excited. I'm liking this book so much, and I'm also just, I don't know, I actually think I am liking it. Like, I feel like the reading experience feels even better this time. The Lightbringer series was one of the first adult fantasy series I read, and I just feel like, given that I've read so many more at this point, I don't know, the experience of reading it feels very easy and light and fun, and it kind of reinforces the feeling of like, oh yeah, this is a great place to start. But I also just feel like, I don't want to use the word reading comprehension, but my general fantasy reading comprehension is just a little higher, so I just feel like I'm just like breezing through it. Like, it's a really lovely reading time, if I'm verbalizing that correctly. But yeah, characters and multi-perspective. I feel like the world building is like pretty comprehensive and like really easy to follow while being like so fresh and interesting. The political structure, and I know some of the upcoming twists and turns are just gonna be so good. Breath of fresh air. I'm loving it all. But anyway, I'm gonna do a bit more reading. I'll check in later tonight, if not in the morning when I wrap up the whole thing. But yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Hi friends, and welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I just wanted to quickly pop in and wrap up all the reading I was able to accomplish this weekend. A bit of a change of plans halfway through, but I was able to read just under 500 pages, as I did read just over 300 pages of The Black Prism last night. But let's quickly go over everything. So first things first, I finished The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters. I read the last 160-ish pages of this book. I obviously went quite into detail about my thoughts and feelings at the beginning of this video, but generally speaking, while I liked the characters and the combat in the world, I was a little let down by kind of the world building in itself. I do have hope for the second book, but I did give this one like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. From there, I have started my reread of the Lightbringer series a little unexpectedly, but I flew through the first 300 pages of this, and I am loving my reintroduction in this world. The multi-perspective, the fast-moving plot, the politics, everything about it. I also just forgot how fast moving everything is. I think having to do with the shorter chapters, but also just all the character interactions, the stakes always feel very, very high, which makes it a super quick read. I'm also just such a big fan of a lot of the characters, from Liv to Kip, who are both from the same age and from the same village, who are kind of paired up together in the Chromia. She's kind of showing him the ropes. Obviously you have Gavin, who's the Prism, who's a very capable man, can be a little frustrating. He's definitely not perfect, but kind of seeing him maneuver as the Prism is very fascinating, and obviously he deals with high-stake politics. Karis, whom I love, like, so many characters, so many different viewpoints. We're all around the world already, and I just know it's gonna escalate, and I cannot wait. So I read 300 pages of that, and I can't wait to finish it this week. But yeah, that is everything I read this reading vlog. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another video soon.